What's happening around the world and what's happening here at home?
A very good evening and welcome to Primetime News here on News First, where the people come first. I'm Naveksha Gunasekara.
And I'm Sandra Ferdinando. Let's take a look at your headlines for tonight.
News First Headlines. Main sponsor.
Durden's Hospital, dedicated to you.
President calls for a report on the NMRA within 2 weeks. Body of the missing Danish tourist who attempted to summit the Alagalla mountain found. Farmers in Polonnaruwa frustrated over conduct of politicians. Chintana Geetal grabs another medal at the Commonwealth Games.
News First Headlines. Main sponsor.
Durden's Hospital, dedicated to you.
First up in news here at home, an officer of the National Medicines Regulatory Authority has passed away due to a bacterial infection while receiving treatment at the Panadura Base Hospital. The cause of the infection has not been revealed yet, and the remains were handed over to the deceased's relatives this morning.
Lanka Kaushan served as a management assistant at the National Medicines Regulatory Authority. 31-year-old Lanka was admitted to the Karapitiya Teaching Hospital on the 28th of this month due to a fever. On the 1st of July, Lanka was taken back home after being treated at the hospital for 3 days. However, he was admitted to the Panadura Teaching Hospital on the 5th of July as he had caught a fever again, and the area where the cannula was inserted had gotten infected. Director of the Panadura Base Hospital, Dr. Dilrukshi Dheerasinghe, said that upon examination it was revealed that a bacteria had infected his blood and that he had suffered an infection in his heart. Due to the severity of the infection, the staff at the Panadura Teaching Hospital had attempted to transfer Lanka to a hospital that had a cardiac intensive care unit. However, their attempts were unsuccessful. Director of the Panadura Base Hospital, Dr. Dilrukshi Dheerasinghe, said that although they contacted the Colombo National Hospital, Kandy General Hospital and the Karapitiya Teaching Hospital, none of these hospitals had beds available at their intensive care units.
We have no suspicion. The people who he worked with at the National Medicines Regulatory Authority worked hard to save him. They said that they will bring down the medicine that he needs, but the medicines did not respond well.
A post-mortem examination had not been conducted on the deceased with the agreement of his family members, and his remains were brought to his residence today.
This patient's conditions had become severe due to the bacterial infection spreading across his body into his vital organs. Investigations are still being carried out to identify the source of this infection. One thing that is suspected to be the source is the cannula. A cannula was inserted into the patient when he was initially hospitalized. There's a wound at the site where the cannula was inserted. There's suspicion as to if the bacteria had entered the body from there, but that has not been confirmed yet.
ඒ හරහා යම් විස බීජයක් සිරුරට ඇතුළු වුණාද කියන කාරණේ නමුත් මේ වනතුරු ඒ තහවුරු කරගෙන නැහැ.
ඔහු නිවසට ගියාට පස්සේ කැනියුලාව
The area where the cannula was inserted had swollen after he had been discharged from the hospital. He was hospitalized again due to this swelling. The suspicion is that the bacteria had entered his body through the area where the cannula was inserted. We are of the stance that there is something wrong here. It is only if we acknowledge that something is wrong that we can take steps to rectify it.
තියෙනවා කියලා අපි පිළිගත්තොත් විතරයි අපිට මේ වැරද්ද නිවැරදි කරන්න පුළුවන්.
Meanwhile, a 5-member committee has been appointed to investigate the suspicious death of Sandipani, who passed away at the Peradeniya Teaching Hospital. Minister of Health Kehelia Rambukwala said that the committee comprising of medical specialists will visit the Peradeniya Hospital tomorrow. The minister said that a scientific investigation into the incident could reveal the reasons that led to her death. Indian authorities have begun testing the drugs and equipment used to treat several cataract patients after 18 patients who underwent the surgery at the Swai Man Singh Hospital in the state of Rajasthan, India, had lost their sight. Superintendent of the Swai Man Singh Hospital, Dr. Achal Sharma, said that the patients who underwent eye surgery from the 26th of June to the 28th of June suffered an infection of the Pseudomonas bacteria. In addition to drugs used for the surgeries, more than 100 samples of the electric lighting equipment, operating theatre tables, water, air conditioners and even walls of the theatres have been sent for microbiology tests, according to Dr. Achala Sharma. However, Swai Man Singh Hospital says that the 18 patients who lost their sight and suffered other complications were operated in different operating theatres by different medical teams, and the surgeries were performed during the course of a few days. Although the Swai Man Singh Hospital directed the patients who have lost their sight to return to their homes, some patients have refused to do so until they regain their sight. They say the hospital needs to make sure that they get their sight back. The patients allege that the hospital authorities did not disclose any related information to them, even though they claimed it was an infection. More than 70 people have undergone eye surgery in the days during which the patients at the hospital were infected with the Pseudomonas bacteria. Meanwhile, in Sri Lanka, approximately 20 patients developed eye infections and several complained of losing their sight after they underwent surgeries at the National Eye Hospital and the Nuwara Eliya General Hospital during the last few months. It was later revealed that a drug named prednisolone that was used on these patients had caused the infection. Burkholderia cepacia was identified as the bacteria that caused the infection. The Pseudomonas bacteria that infected Indian patients and the Burkholderia cepacia bacteria that infected Sri Lankan patients are very similar microbial species and cannot be distinguished by basic tests. The company that brought down the drug prednisolone that caused the infection in the eyes of 18 Sri Lankan patients is located in the state of Gujarat, adjacent to the state of Rajasthan, where the Swai Man Singh Hospital is located. They are located at a distance of approximately 800 kilometers. Meanwhile, members of the Jana Aragalaya Puravasiyo movement met with the Health Minister Kehelia Rambukwala today to discuss the current situation of the country's health sector. The group met the Health Minister after staging a protest opposite the Ministry of Health.
We met the minister. We urged him to step down from his portfolio if he cannot take up the responsibility and carry on his duty. Responding to our plea, the minister said that he will step down if he cannot do his job right. We stressed that he needs to act in a more responsible manner and should make sure that these types of issues will not happen in the future. With all these deaths being reported from several parts of the country, he is also under a lot of pressure from the general public. We stressed that he cannot run away from his responsibilities.
The attention of President Ranil Wickremesinghe has been drawn towards the issues related to the quality of drugs, equipment and vaccines imported to the country. The President's media division said that the President has decided to appoint a committee with a representative from the Treasury to look into the activities of the National Medicine Regulatory Authority and submit a report within 2 weeks. President Ranil Wickremesinghe emphasized the importance of ensuring timely access to drugs and promoting transparency in the pharmaceutical sector during a meeting with the Health Minister, health officials and financial officials today. The President emphasized that there will be no delay in getting the needed medicine for the people and that the Ministry of Health should ensure the transparency on information of all medicine.
Then comes availability of drugs. So already the minister is talking with China and we'll further ask the foreign ministry also to get involved. With India, we are virtually coming to an agreement where we can access their stock, but we'll take that up when you go to India next week. But more than that, we also have the issue of the delay as a result of the procedures that are followed now. That drugs by the FDA, they are also registered by UK, all get held up here. So I've asked the NMRA to go ahead now and immediately approve FDA drugs and the other countries which they have agreed with the Health Ministry, and the Health Ministry will then bring amendments to the NMRA Act which will enable them to act quickly and overcome all the difficulties. We also want transparency in drugs, so all the drugs in Sri Lanka, there will be a website run by the Health Ministry which will say the total amount available and the amount available in each hospital, which will change daily as they consume the drugs, and the networking system so that even drugs can go from one hospital to another without having.
President Ranil Wickremesinghe highlighted the government's commitment to addressing the challenges in the healthcare sector and improving access to quality healthcare services in Sri Lanka.
Meanwhile, President Wickremesinghe met the Indian business community in Sri Lanka on Thursday afternoon.
The Indian CEO Forum was held in Colombo on Thursday afternoon. President Wickremesinghe and the Indian High Commissioner to Sri Lanka and several other dignitaries were present at the event.
Sri Lanka unfortunately had to undergo this crisis, but we are coming out of it. I thought we can't be dragging this out like Greece. We are not a Greek tragedy, but a country that can always recover. And as the country recovers, we have to get back to economic restructure. We started earlier, but we are slowed down. And we too, once the debt restructuring is over, we are already planning the growth agenda. A massive restructuring of our economy, of our laws, of our systems. So we want to build up a highly competitive economy which can compete with the world, a green economy and a digital economy. So this is what we are working at. So in this journey, we should go together. That's what we have done for 2,500 years. Whatever be the political relations, the cultural and economic relations were always firm, on a firm foundation. So my task now, when I go to India, will be, as Gopal said, to look at what is the connectivity. How close connectivity are we to have? So first is decide what is the long-term objectives and goals of our two countries' relationship. We are going into a new age. We must go there together. So in my view, what we discussed with Prime Minister Modi is what's our vision and what are we going to do immediately. And I think that's a matter when we come back, it should be debated in the country. I will certainly put the statement before Parliament. If someone has any other opinion or alternative, let us know. Just as I put the IMF agreement before Parliament, the Extended Fund Facility, EFF, and we brought the debt restructuring. This is important. We have to decide within the next 2 decades what is our relationship going to be with India and what's the connectivity. Like you, I'd like the Indian rupee to be used as much as the dollar. India to be a common currency. It doesn't matter to us. We'll have to work out how we do it. So this is what we have to do. We have to open out to the world. For Sri Lanka, not only India, the whole of Southeast Asia, East Asia, the whole of RCEP, Australia, we have to be competitive. We have to negotiate a deeper trade agreement with the EU. The world is ours to conquer if you want to do it. If you don't want to do it, you are going to fail.
Meanwhile, tenders have been called for the project to issue digitalized identity cards in Sri Lanka, funded by a grant of 300 million Indian rupees. Bids were called under the limited international competitive bidding process for this project carried out by the Information and Communication Technology Agency of Sri Lanka together with the PricewaterhouseCoopers. The bidding has been limited to large Indian companies. The new digital ID will also include biometrics, including fingerprints and facial recognition. The companies securing this tender will have the opportunity to design, prepare and operate this data system as well as maintain the related software. The State Minister of Technology, Kanaka Herath, responded to questions raised by journalists during a media briefing at the President's Media Division on Thursday.
This program was launched when the Government of India and Sri Lanka signed the Memorandum of Understanding on the 28th of March in 2022. As the first step of the procedure, the Indian government had given a grant of 300 million. During the first phase, we are expecting to develop the software. The technological knowledge required for this will be provided by the ICTA and the PwC. It is expected to obtain fingerprints, face, eye and several other biometrics from every person. All of that will be done once the software is developed. That will be after 1.5 years.
ඇතුළු ඒ දත්ත ලබා ගැනීමේ සෑම පුද්ගලයෙක්ගේම ලබා ගන්න බලාපොරොත්තු වෙනවා මේ මෘදුකාංගය හදලා අවසන් වුණාන් පස්සේ කියන්නේ වසර එකමාරකට පමණ පස්සේ.
එතකොට ඉන්දියානු සහයෝගයත් මේ සඳහා ලබා ගන්නවා කියලා ඔබතුමා කිව්වා. විපක්ෂය චෝදනා කරනවා මේ හේතුවෙන් ජාතික ආරක්ෂාවට ගැටලුවක් වෙයි කියලා. ඔබතුමා මේ ගැන මොකද කියන්නේ?
මේ ප්‍රසම්පාදන වැඩපිළිවෙලේ පළවෙනි.
Through the first phase of this procurement program, we are only developing the software. The second phase is collecting the data. During the second stage, we will hand hand over all the data collected to the Department of Registration of Persons. Then someone may raise the question if the data can be obtained through the back doors. For that, we are working with the Sri Lanka CERT Institute and will be implementing a program to protect this data.
While plans are afoot to initiate a program to issue digitalized identity cards in collaboration with India, the Indian Oil Corporation has proposed a project to construct pipeline connecting Nagapatnam, Trincomalee and Colombo. In addition to crude oil, discussions were also held to construct a pipeline connecting two countries to distribute LPG gas as well. Meanwhile, the Indian Deloitte company has been selected as a consultant agent to monitor the restructuring program of the Litro Gas company.
The agreement between the Chinese company Cinepic and the BOI pursuant to the agreement between Cinepic and the Ceylon Petroleum Corporation was inked in Colombo today. State Ministry of Investment Promotion Diluma Munugama, Chairman of the Board of Investment Dinesh Veerakodi and senior official of Cinepic were present at the event.
According to the agreement to be entered into with the Ministry of Energy, 150 Cipetco sheds will be handed over to them. They have invested in these and they have been given permission to open 50 new fuel stations. They have invested between 100 to 130 million for 200 fuel stations. We confirm that with the agreement that was signed today, they will be coming to Sri Lanka.
සම්පූර්ණ ඉන්ධන පිරවුම්හල් 200 සඳහාම අද දිනේ අත්සන් කරපු ගිවිසුමෙන් ලංකාවට එනවා කියන කාරණේ අපි පැහැදිලි කරන්නට අවශ්‍යයි.
The rupee has further depreciated against the US dollar. According to the exchange rates published by the Central Bank of Sri Lanka, the selling price of a US dollar was at rupees 326.47 on Friday and the buying rate of a US dollar was at rupees 312. We'll be back with more news right after this commercial break. Stay tuned.
News First. Main sponsor.
Darden's Hospital, dedicated to you.
Welcome back to the news. Chairman of the United National Party, Vajira Bewardhana, expressed his views on the manner in which the current government takes decisions. He made these remarks while speaking at an event in Galle today.
Sometimes what you believe is right is not what we think is right. We take a different decision. We don't have a problem with that because it doesn't matter if we win or lose. We have a responsibility to do what is right, so we are doing the right thing. It doesn't matter if we win or lose. The first Prime Minister D.S. Senanayake was appointed not after he won, but after he lost. There were only 98 seats back then in Parliament. D.S. Senanayake had only 42 seats in Parliament. The Lanka Samasamaja Party accepted him as the national leader. So did the Communist Party. All the independent parties accepted him as the national leader. All of the parties united and said that their leader was D.S. Senanayake. Did he win? No, he had lost. So even today, winning or losing doesn't matter. Consensus is what is important.
The Jatika Jana Balavege says that the country needs a government with a mandate.
අපි කියන්නේ මේ සියලු ව්‍යාපෘති ආයෝජන ව්‍යාපෘතියක් වේවා ඒ ණය ලබාගෙන කරන ව්‍යාපෘති.
We are of the stance that whatever projects, be it investment projects, projects done on loans, the security of the people and the country must be ensured. We must not fall prey to a global power. These agreements must be considered. The President is not given any power by the people to enter into agreements for 5, 10 or even 15 years. This President was denied a seat in Parliament by the people. He does not have any right to take decisions to sell off national assets like this. This President is not thinking about the country. He is thinking about how he can manage the politics in the country to ensure that he wins the next presidential election. We must form a government with a mandate that can make these decisions. The government can hold discussions with foreign countries thereafter.
කොහොමද මේ දේශපාලනයේ කළමනාකරණය කරන්න කියන එක තමයි ඔහුගේ ඔළුවේ වැඩ කරන්නේ. ඒකට අදාළ දේවල් තමයි මේ සිදුවෙමින් යන්නේ. තීන්දුව ගන්න පුළුවන් ජනවරමක් සහිත ආණ්ඩුවක් නිර්මාණය කරගත යුතුයි. ඒ ආණ්ඩුවත් එක්ක අපිට පුළුවන් ඒ ආණ්ඩුවත් එක්ක මේ ඒ රටවල් එක සාකච්ඡා කරන්න.
News First with the people.
In some tragic news, the body of the foreign woman who went missing while attempting to summit the Alagala mountain in Kandy has been found.
A 32-year-old Danish national named Kare Mang Empasan began to trek the Alagala mountain early on Wednesday morning. She was lodging at a hotel in Ampitia, Kandy. Since she hadn't returned to the hotel on Wednesday evening, the hotel management had notified the Kandy tourist police. The body of the Danish national had been found during a search operation conducted by security forces, including the army.
Several people who had been there on the roads have seen her entering this place. She has also inquired the roads. She has also used the road maps online.
According to the police, the woman had travelled from Kaduganawa to Alagala town in a three-wheeler. She attempted to summit the Alagala mountain alone. The body of the Danish tourist was found on the other side of the Alagala mountain range, according to the police. Further investigations into the incident are underway. Meanwhile, Foreign Minister Ali Sabri met New Zealand's Minister of Foreign Affairs Nanaia Mahuta on the sidelines of the ASEAN regional meeting, which is currently being held in Jakarta. Two ministers discussed investment opportunities available in Sri Lanka with a special focus on higher education, agriculture and the Colombo Port City project. Minister Ali Sabri received a Maori blessing from the Foreign Minister Nanaia Mahuta.
This is your brother, right?
Yes, that's my brother.
On July 13, Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov met with Sri Lankan Foreign Minister Ali Sabri on the sidelines of the ASEAN ministerial events in Jakarta, Indonesia. During the conversation, the ministers expressed mutual interest in maintaining a regular political dialogue and expanding cooperation in practical areas. News First and Jet Holdings launched another social welfare program today.
A very warm welcome to the press conference of the Jet Pintaru Shilpi Abhiman. A very warm welcome to the press conference of the Jet Pintaru Shilpi Abhiman.
The Pintaru Shilpa Abhiman is a program that is designed to uplift the wood coating industry, providing recognition and professional training to painters and carpenters. A press conference of the Pintaru Shilpa Abhiman program was held this morning at Stein Studios. The aim of the program is to empower wood craftsmen who have talent and skill but have not had the opportunity of a formal certification. Agreements were exchanged between the Chief Executive Officer and Director of Jet Holdings PLC, Nishal Ferdinando, and the CEO of Stein Studios, Chandana Surya Bandara.
How do you create the pride in a painter? How do you change the social perception of how you look at a painter? So for this, what we thought was the best way is to collaborate with a media organization, and it's just not a media organization who does it for the sake of doing. So we wanted a media organization to collaborate with us, someone who has the best interest of the people at the heart, someone who can take this nationally, someone who can take this with pride, with the main intention of impacting the lives of the people in this country or the painters in this country. So the first channel or the first media network that came to our minds was News First, MTV, MBC network. So we approached MTV, MBC network, and today is the first step of what we are doing, the Jet Pintaru Shilpi Abhiman. We are signing the agreement to take this national wide, to make this an impactful program, to make this something that can capture viewers' attention and can change the lives of all these painters. We can take this global, right? Make a make an industry out of this export-oriented industry where we can actually get foreign revenue as well and to impact people.
News First will join anyone who wants to fulfill the responsibility of developing the youth of this country as professionals, develop their skills and make them citizens who will shine bright in the society. There are no conditions attached. The first and the main objective of News First is to do all that we can to make Sri Lanka a developed country. We are happy that we are able to contribute to this initiative. Let's all unite to tell the world that this is our time to shine.
වැඩේ උනත් කරන්න පැකිලෙන්නේ නැති අපි මේ කර්තව්‍යයට අතිශය සතුටු වෙනවා මේ කර්තව්‍යයට දායක වෙන්න ලැබීම ගැන අපි අතිශය සතුටු වෙනවා අපි ඔක්කොම එකතු වෙලා ලෝකයට කියමු අපිට දැන් ඕන වෙන්නේ දිදුලන
As a company, we were built to serve the people. Therefore, the goal of our company and our upper management, including our chairman and group director, is to take the youth of Sri Lanka to the next level. Therefore, we were very happy to join hands with this program. There are many projects being implemented, but our intention was to analyze the benefits of this program and unite two organizations to take Sri Lanka's youth to the next level.
තිබෙන ගුණාත්මක භාවය අධ්‍යයනය කළා ආයතන දෙකක් එකතු වෙලා රටේ ඊළඟ තැනට අපේ තරුණ පරම්පරාව ආරා යන්නේ.
Plans have been made to organize academic and professional training programs for painters across the island under the Pintaru Shilpa Abhiman, organized by Jet Holdings and News First.
The 5 nominees of the title Mrs. Beyond Giving of Mrs. India INC Season 4 visited St. Mary's College in Kolpiti to join with Project Meal to Heal today.
Mrs. India INC, the glamorous beauty pageant, is hosting its 4th season in Sri Lanka. This is the very first time that the pageant is being held outside of India. The pageant has drawn the attention of 75 exceptional competitors from across India, as well as Indians from all over the world, making it a truly international celebration of elegance, beauty and cultural diversity. A mini award ceremony was held for the contestants, where the nominations of award titles for Mrs. India INC were revealed yesterday evening. The welcome dinner followed at Nugagama at Cinnamon Grand. The nominees of the title Mrs. Beyond Giving of Mrs. India Season 4 visited St. Mary's College in Kolpiti and participated in the project Meals That Heal, where they provided a balanced, nutritious meal to students today.
And it's a wonderful treat to be here and really witness how communities are supported by local businesses and pageantry.
As a destination, Sri Lanka, I think it's very important that we portray ourselves handling these kind of big events, pageants, such as Mrs. India Inc. For Mrs. World, because that shows the world that Sri Lanka's capability of handling such big event.
Various exciting activities have been arranged throughout the week for the contestants here in Sri Lanka, until the pageant, which will take place on the 19th of July. Legends 966 and TV1 are the proud media partners for Mrs. India INC Season 4. Stay tuned for more updates on Mrs. India INC.
We'll be back after a short commercial break.
When a heart attack strikes, every minute makes the difference between life and death. With the right care and treatment at the hand of the most skilled surgeons and medical professionals. With the perfect environment for recovery. Darden's Heart Center, dedicated to you.
In news overseas, Hollywood actors have joined a strike by screenwriters in the industry's biggest shutdown for more than 60 years.
Some 160,000 performers stopped work at midnight in Los Angeles, bringing to a halt most US film and TV productions. The Screen Actors Guild, or SAG, wants streaming giants to agree to a fairer split of profits and better working conditions. It also wants to protect actors from being usurped by digital replicas. The union is seeking guarantees that artificial intelligence and computer-generated faces and voices will not be used to replace actors.
We are the victims here. We are being victimized by a very greedy entity. What are we doing? Moving around furniture on the Titanic?
While the strike lasts, actors cannot appear in films or even promote movies that they have already made. As a result, stars Cillian Murphy, Matt Damon and Emily Blunt left the premiere of Christopher Nolan's Oppenheimer in London on Thursday night as the strike was declared. The film's director Christopher Nolan told the cinema audience that they were off to write their picket signs, adding that he supported them in their struggle. To address concerns about the use of AI, the big studios have offered what they call a groundbreaking proposal that would protect the digital likeness of actors and require their consent when digital replicas are used in performances or alterations are made.
India is bidding to become only the 4th country to execute a controlled landing on the moon with a successful launch on Friday of its Chandrayaan 3 mission.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Plus 5 seconds.
Lift-off normal.
Here we have a majestic lift-off of LVM-3 M4 rocket carrying India's prestigious Chandrayaan 3 spacecraft.
P2 tracking.
प्रज्वलन और सफलतापूर्ण उत्थापन LVM-3 M4 रॉकेट का यह भीम का रॉकेट आसमान को
Chandrayaan, which means moon vehicle in Sanskrit, blasted off from the Satish Dhawan Space Center at Sriharikota in southern Andhra Pradesh on Friday. Crowds gathered at the Space Center to watch the history-making launch, and more than 1 million people tuned in to watch it on YouTube. It is India's second attempt at a soft landing after its previous effort with the Chandrayaan 2 in 2019 failed. Developed by the Indian Space Research Organization, Chandrayaan 3 is comprised of a lander, propulsion module and rover. Its aim is to safely land on the lunar surface, collect data and conduct a series of scientific experiments to learn more about the moon's composition. Only 3 other countries have achieved the complicated feat of soft landing a spacecraft on the moon's surface, that is the United States, Russia and China. Indian engineers have been working on the launch for years. They are aiming to land Chandrayaan 3 near the challenging terrain of the moon's unexplored south pole.
Chandrayaan 3 has started its journey towards moon. Our dear LVM-3 has already put Chandrayaan 3 craft into the precise orbit around Earth. 170 by 36,500 km was its intended target orbit, and it is precisely there now. And let us wish all the best for the Chandrayaan 3 craft to make its further orbit racing maneuvers and travel towards moon in the coming days.
India's maiden lunar mission, Chandrayaan 1, discovered water molecules on the moon's surface. 11 years later, the Chandrayaan 2 successfully entered lunar orbit, but its rover crash-landed on the moon's surface. It too was supposed to explore the moon's south pole.
An event to celebrate Matariki, the Maori New Year, was held at BMSH Colombo on Friday.
Matariki is a special occasion in the New Zealand calendar which marks the start of the Maori New Year. Often referred to as the Maori Lunar New Year, the festival of Matariki marks the midwinter rising period of its namesake constellation and signifies a time of beginnings and endings coming together, remembrance of the dead, and traditionally the planning of crops and planting. Matariki can be a time to farewell the dead, honor ancestors and celebrate life. It's also a reminder of one's responsibility to the land and environment. While there's no way to celebrate, many New Zealanders will spend time with loved ones over some kai or food. Friday's event was also held to mark the official commemoration of the New Zealand High Commission's opening, which has been deferred since mid-2021 due to a combination of COVID-19, the Sri Lankan economic crisis and developments in New Zealand. Prime Minister of Sri Lanka, Dinesh Gunawardena, was the chief guest of the event.
And finally, in your sports news, Chintanagita Vidanage won the silver medal at the weightlifting category at the Junior Commonwealth Championship held in India. Chintana bags the silver in the 81 kilogram weightlifting category. And with that, we bring to you the end of Primetime News for tonight. Thank you for watching. I've been Naveksha Gunasekara.
And I'm Sandra Ferdinando. Take care and good night.